I think for me, painting is one of the few things that I can get lost in like I do with soccer. So when you're on the field, time doesn't matter, nothing matters except what's happening in the game. And painting is something else for me that I can get that same feeling and just get totally lost in it for hours. I'll just start painting and then suddenly I'll look up and it's been 3 hours and I've just really enjoyed myself. I think it's like a zen place for me. I just lose myself, I lose a lot of my worries, and that was really important for me to find something like that I could just get out of my own head and not think for once, and especially not about my injury. Before I got my first surgery, it was 2 days before surgery, and I went in thinking that it was going to be a 3-month recovery. I was going to be on crutches for 2 weeks, and then it would be 3 months and I'd be done. And right before the surgery, they were like, oh no, it's a 2-month on crutches recovery and then 6 to 8 months before you can play. So that initially was devastating, but then once I started healing, I just wasn't healing well. And I was in so much pain, and they said, we don't know how well this is gonna work. They told me that my hip looked like I'd been in a really bad car wreck. I'd say about 6 months in, and I still wasn't even running. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna ever be able to play again. And that's kind of really when the panic sets in. Like, what am I gonna do? Where am I gonna work? What do I like? Who am I without soccer? And that was a really dark time for me.
She basically was just trying to work through each painful sort of transition from, the surgery to moving again, to biking, to lifting, to running, and none of those went smoothly. And so ultimately, I think she got used to feeling like she might never be the same. That's because the surgery didn't take well, and she had a lot of scar tissue forming. So she was in a lot of real pain, and her hip wasn't healthy.
I just felt so lost, and I couldn't picture my future anymore. You have these plans for yourself of where you're gonna be in 5 years, 10 years, and all of that was kind of shattered. So, there was definitely multiple times that I would just break down and start crying and, wondering where my life was going and if I was ever gonna heal. I think for me, the next thing that I knew I was good at was painting. So I just gravitated towards it, and it was kind of a solace for me during those really hard and unknowing times.
I think she's had spells where she's felt really defeated, and other spells where she's just, been extremely optimistic. With that said, she's absolutely never quit. Her mentality hasn't changed. She's, extremely competitive, and, she never has let herself get to such a place where quitting was an option.
This is it. This is the only time that I have to be a professional athlete and a professional soccer player and attempt to pursue my dreams. So I wasn't ready to quit. Even though I did have doubts, I was, proving myself and everybody else, the doctors included, wrong, that, I am gonna come back from this, and I'm not giving up hope yet. So we are going to see my physical therapist, Colin Bywaters, who's been working with me for the past year on this injury. And I was thinking about this earlier, is just how important my physical therapists have been. So it's obviously been almost 3 years now since I started this whole process, and some of the most important people in my journey have been my physical therapists. I think sometimes when people talk about their comeback, or when it's highlighted, often the physical therapist is seen as a no-brainer, but for me it's been if I didn't have these certain individuals, then I don't think I would be where I am today. So I feel extremely lucky that I found some really great people who are willing to help me and focus on my injury as much as I have, if not more, because they have more knowledge. They won't care.
Hey.
Hi, Paul.
How are you?
Good.
Good.
We're filming a little documentary thing.
Yeah, that's what
Okay, cool.
How have you been in the last week?
Good. It's felt good. Yesterday we did like 1v1 transition stuff, and that was the first time that it really started to act up.
Okay. It's been interesting because I've seen her now go through several stages. When she first came to see me, she was fairly functional, but having continued kind of persistent chronic pain that was keeping her off the field, and that was getting worse. And then post-operatively, she was non-weight bearing. Was utilizing bilateral crutches and for about 6 weeks. So I worked with her at a point in time when she wasn't very functional and just trying to get back to walking. We worked through that whole process and got her to where she was fairly functional, starting to kick a ball again. And now to see her a year later, I think it's pretty amazing, and her recovery's been fantastic. I mean, it's gone according to plan, but nothing ever goes according to plan, so that's what's been really neat to see and work with Mandy throughout this whole process, and to see her getting back onto the field.
We're gonna do some circumduction. That's basically, she just takes my leg and moves it around to sort of lubricate the joint and just get it moving. It's like the one thing I can't do on my own. I was in a swimsuit yesterday and I was like, oof.
What happened here?
Need to get a tattoo. I think I'm gonna put like a star here and make this a shooting star. And
I
then
had a guy at the clinic had a big scar up his elbow, and he made a zipper.
Well, I never really lost that tenacity that you have when you get injured. I knew that if my body allowed me, I would work as hard as I could to get back. And I had enough people in my life that were telling me, like, don't give up, you can do this. And I just knew that if I were to give up and say, that's it, I'm done, I would regret it for the rest of my life. Like, I know I always preach about not losing your identity in sports, but man, it just feels so right, and like feel like myself again, and I'm doing what I love, and it's just so awesome to be able to be back out there on the field with my teammates after sitting on the sidelines for 2 years, you know? I wasn't sure how to tie my shoes at first. No, I just didn't think, I wasn't sure if I'd be able to play again. So like coming out here with the girls and like joking around, everyone's like super excited for you. It's like just an awesome feeling having your cleats on. I mean, even like Sengel can attest to this, like just being able to put them on again, and it's great, it's the best. That's been one of the hardest things, I think, coming back. You think that one of the hardest parts is going to be not being able to play, but nobody really talks about how hard it is mentally to come back and play and not be where you were at when you got injured, and trying to fight back, and letting go of your ego and understanding that it's a journey to get back, and you don't have to be amazing, it's okay to struggle, and if you put that pressure on yourself to be this incredible player, you'll never get there, because your own limitation is your mind. I've been trying really hard to remind myself of these things and let go of my ego and just play and have fun, and I think that will enable me to be a better player and a better teammate, and enable me to live out those characteristics that I've worked so hard to develop over the past 2 years. It's just gonna, like, I dream about that moment of being back on the field and like playing in a game and the intensity of it. So it's literally going to be like a dream come true, which is the most cliche thing that I could possibly say. But that moment of being back in a game is what keeps you going through this whole process. And so actually living it will be awesome. And I'll feel just so grateful for everyone that's helped me get to that point, that believed in me when I could hardly believe in myself. And I'm just so excited for it.
Mandy Laddish making her first appearance in over 2 years. It's been a long road to recovery for Mandy Laddish.
Oh, I'm sure she's so excited and thrilled, and there's some nerves as well. A long road to recovery.
First off, I think I was drawn to it because she's like breathing again, and I feel like now that I'm playing, I'm breathing again. So it's like she's breaking through adversity, and I think that instead of having her break through water, I think I want to put like Utah plants around her so that she's breathing out through the plants, because Utah was something that helped propel me back, and then we'll see where I go from there. It's a process, and I'm just gonna enjoy it.